document. Should I be cutting and pasting that? Probably cutting and pasting that from GitHub, right?
Yeah, I was just about to paste in you can just have it open. I'm just about to paste in the
okay
agenda.
Cool.
There you go. Okay.
Perfect. And let's see. And we are still good on all this stuff. And I'm actually, I may have regrets, but I'm actually at the meeting.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Is
actually,
it expected that the link to the chair notes does 404s?
What? Which chair notes?
So on the agenda
Info.
for the meeting, there under info, that second link says interim 2025-10.
Oh, it's a typo.
Is it just supposed to be interim 2025-1?
Yeah.
That also appears to
Really?
404.
Are you sure? It looks good to me.
2501. Okay. Got it. I'm there now.
Yeah, that should be okay. And then I'm going to share slides. I'm going to share my screen. Stop the video.
I'm just putting. We did have the one, and am I doing the right thing? But putting the errata that we talked about on the mailing list.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
So cool.
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
Yeah, fine.
Steve is here.
And I'm just adding the pause for celebration to the for FLAC to the agenda.
Yeah.
That was the wrong link to the old minutes. It was the link for the previous one.
Cool.
Do you want to just drive? Do you want to be driving? I'll take notes, Spencer.
Sure. I want to welcome everybody, and see, we usually start at 5 minutes after the hour, but I'll talk slowly. I got 4 minutes after. And and you're projecting that. So a good thing for us to do is to welcome everybody and to remind people about the Note Well, since this is, as always, a official IETF meeting. And remind people of where the hedge doc is that we're taking notes in. For people to sign in and whatnot. And I'm now down to the virtual interim dates that we have proposed, and the link where to look that up. And I did the note well early, but that's never wrong. And we have Jerome and Steve, and I want to welcome Robert as a first-time attendee, and say hi to everybody.
Hello, Robert.
Hi, everybody.
So we have, sorry, I'm fat fingering something. So looking at our meeting minutes from the last meeting, did anybody have any notes, any comments about those?
Totally fine for me.
Excellent.
No comment.
Cool. And we are down to 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, we're down to 4 drafts that we have working actively: codec tags, chapter codecs, and control. And we've had a brief respite for FFV1 version 4. Do we want to talk about the pending errata first, Michael?
I think we should welcome Robert and explain.
Oh,
You mean me?
Yeah, why I'm here. So,
yeah. Oh, okay. Yes.
very briefly, for those that haven't met me, I'm Robert Sparks. I've been around the IETF for a very long time. I'm working with the LLC as the Senior Director of Information Technology. You might have seen messages from me for the data tracker, mail infrastructure, that kind of stuff going around. But I also participate in the IETF in other roles. One of those is being a working group chair, and Ori has asked me to join this group as a co-chair, which this will be my first time to see one of your meetings. I'll be added as a chair to the data tracker sometime after this meeting, and plan to help the group with their work over the next several months.
And I will be stepping back as co-chair, and this will be like our overlapping meeting. And that's about it.
And I will be hanging around as usual.
Thank you, Michael.
But yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm increasingly unable to do things due to medical issues. It's a real struggle. Today's been a real struggle, actually.
I am now diving for the errata system. So we can look that up for RFC number 9559. And searching on that. Do we not have an errata, or am I?
It's discussion. Basically, there's so this media.
Oh, okay. I misunderstood.
Should be admin, but we don't know if it should be an errata, or like, for example, if we can put it on the next document. It's not even like normative. It's just an extra old media type that people might encounter and consider as a font, but it's not the official media types that we encourage people to use.
I don't think we need a document to do that or an errata. I think we just need to fill out a media type template, and we need to throw them at the media type review people, because it's essentially expert review, and those are the expert reviews. And then we would just add it. We would point it as at RFC 9559 in the media type thing, and we would just mark it somewhere as, you know, what is the right word? Historic.
Sorry, I missed the beginning of what you said.
I don't think we need an errata, and I don't think we need a document for it. I think it's enough to fill out the media type template, and it will point to 9559, and that's it. They'll review it, and if they don't have a problem with it, like, you know, I don't know, because font OTF might not really be, for some reason, someone might say, oh, I'm already using it for something else or whatever. I don't know. I don't think so. But, and then it would just get pointed at 955. And we would say it's simply, we would say in the media type description that it's a historic media type, especially since it starts with X. It shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, that's what will cause it to appear in the media types registry. And that's all that needs to happen.
Yeah.
And I think that's all we need. We don't need to refer to it in the document, because it's not what we want people to do. But if they encounter it, you know, in the wild, then they can look it up, and it will say, come here, go to this document and do something. I guess if you really want, we could have a, you know, a paragraph, but I think, yeah, put it in whatever the next version as a mention, but I'm not sure we even need an errata. Maybe it just depends on how important it is that people reading the RFC who know nothing about anything about this stuff think, oh, I should implement support for this, as opposed to they encounter it in the wild and go, why isn't this mentioned? And then they would go look at the media type registry and go, oh, okay, it was added as a historic thing.
Which our document should point to anyway. You know, there's basically our documents may register things that are in the registry, but there may be other things that are added to the registry, and that's something that is good for people to know. Who should we go ahead? I'm sorry.
We do have a font OTF. Is that right in the document?
I don't remember. We do have one for OTF. We might have others as well. Let me check.
Yeah, we have font/OTF.
Yeah, we have font/OTF, and there's TrueType font, X-TrueType-font, which might sometimes be OTF.
Those are from a different RFC anyway, right?
Yes.
So I don't think I think we need to just mention that it's somewhere that it's a the media type registration that this is a
basically only media types that start with font/ are official ones. The application ones are not official.
So I think I know how to do a media type registration, especially for X dash. But is it okay if I hold the pen on that?
Sure.
Cool. Cool. So we did have an email on the mailing list about the tags document ready for submitting publishing from Steve.
Yes.
Do we need to is it helpful to talk about the loudness tag now?
What do you mean?
I'm looking at the email that says there's only the loudness tag that needs to be discussed, but it can be added later.
The loudness. The thing is, I don't had someone suggested that we had a tag for the latest EDU recommendation. So I went through all the documents, tried to create something, but it's a bit technical. I'm not sure I did it right. And then I asked for advice from the guy who seemed to know more than me, but he never replied. So I'm thinking we just leave it for now. We can put it later in other documents. It was supposed to, for now, define what already exists. This tag doesn't exist, so we don't need to include it now. So for me, if it was solved, it would be okay to have it, but if it's not, there's no reason to wait for it.
That sounds a good plan. So the guy might answer us and we might slip it in at the last minute, but that other than that, we're missing information. We can't just do it ourselves. I'm not sure I understand what the item is. And did I get that? Did I hear that right? There's an ITU recommendation around this.
EDU, that's an audio thing.
Okay. EDU?
Yeah.
Like that? Okay. I don't know.
Sorry, EBU, like Bernard. EBU R128. And it's actually the professional system that most people use now. So it would be good to have it. But it's very technical and you don't want to do it wrong.
So we need this person's help?
Yes, or anyone who knows about it. I don't know, Jérôme, if you know about that.
I know a bit about that, so I can help a bit. Yeah.
Okay, if you can check.
Yeah.
So Steve and Jerome are contacting the right person?
I will check, yeah.
Okay, great. Cool.
If somebody could write down the name of the people that you're trying to contact in the chat, I'd appreciate it.
That's BP010G.
That's the person?
That's the person on GitHub.
Oh, I see. Okay. All right. We don't even know their name.
Robert, everybody should have right access to the minutes, so people can put information in as we go as well. I type, but we're not dependent on my typing to capture everything. And thank you for putting that in. Perfect. So can somebody remind me, we are planning to do the next 4 documents. They're not a set. Is that right? So we can do 1 or 2 at a time, requesting publication. We don't have to wait for all 4 of them.
Correct.
Cool. So basically the only thing we're waiting on for tags 15 for publication request is the response on that pull request.
Well, in my opinion, we don't even have to wait. We can start the
Yeah.
process. And as Michael said, if we have an answer before, we can put it in. Otherwise, we'll just publish without it.
Do we think we can do working group last call now?
Yes, I think so.
Cool. Well, the first step on that is working group last call. And we might end up with a comment saying we heard back from the guy and here's the information. Perfect. Cool. What draft should we talk about next?
So the next document will be the Codex one. Hold on, no, there's a more errata for RFC 9559. I've submitted 2 pull requests for the fixes. Once they're approved and merged, I will create the errata and submit them.
Are either one of those controversial that we would need to talk about on the call?
The queue time, so that's one of the guy from Google who noticed that it's under specified. That means you don't know if some of the fields are supposed to be used or not. And after some analysis of what exists everywhere in the code and the logic, we found that we don't need all the extra fields, but we need to say it somewhere in the document. So I made a pull request, which is the
What was the pull request number?
I'm going to write it down. That's 946.
Cool. Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
So the text is very short and simple. I think it's okay. We can wait for some feedback. There's no rush. And there's another one, which is basically allowing more than one attachment link per track, which was an oversight. And that's pull request 932. And that's even less controversial. Moritz, who's the only one using that tag, has agreed to it. So we can just merge it, then regenerate the document and publish the difference as an errata.
Okay. Cool. So we need to close on 946 before we can do working group last call on that one, right?
No, 946 is for RFC 9. What do you mean last call for the tags?
I'm talking. So for the codec specification,
So these are errata for the RFC already published. So 9559. The tags.
Okay.
Tags and codecs are not published, so there's no errata.
Cool.
So these errata are not for the codex document, they are for
Yeah.
RFC. Hold on, I'll fix it.
I was typing something when you were typing.
Yeah.
Do that. So do I have this right? So the Codec 14 is relying on 2 pull requests fixing errata?
No. The codec is relying on other pull requests, but not these ones.
Okay.
So 2 pull requests that we need to do on, codecs to get it finished. That's not tags, it's codecs.
Right.
Last call. You're going to working group last call for tags.
Right.
Codec 14, moving on to Codec 14.
Right.
Okay, it's got some issues that are, I don't know what the right thing is, that maybe. 2 pull requests is pulling, it just has 2 pull requests. It's nothing to do with nothing to do with 559, right, Steve?
Yeah, correct.
Okay, you're typing that over again. Okay.
Okay. Are we back synchronized? We're back on two pull requests, and we still need to do analysis on one of them. Do I have that right?
Okay, no, these 2 pull requests are for RFC 9559. Codec 14 needs different pull requests we haven't talked about yet.
So this is correct. This is
Okay, cool.
946
That
and 9.
fits correct.
Yeah, 932.
Okay,
those are our texts that we need to figure out, and they will turn into errata.
Correct.
Okay.
So for the codec, there's 3 pull requests. Basically, I'm waiting for input from Jérôme.
So Robert, I don't think that you're involved in the RFC editor effort to revamp their errata.
Oh yeah, I am.
You are. So
he can run, but he can't hide.
Okay, all right. So all I was going to say is that an errata process that involved a Git repo, GitLab or something, and pull requests from people. That these guys Steve would be very pleased to interact with that, because I think that's, as a key driver, because this is really how he wants to work, right? He wants to be able to just merge pull requests in a Git, and and then go through and have someone up arrow the thing and have it become have it done, right? So it's a very good closed small test case for that, if that's the direction they're going to go. I just wanted to mention that. Sorry. So you were saying something else about Jérôme when I interrupted.
Yeah, so there's 937, actually, since Dave is here, you can have a look as well. There was a SMPT bit description in the document, but it seems the interpretation of the bits were incorrect.
You didn't say
SMPT 12.
SMB 12? Like
I write it. Yes.
P. Okay.
Okay. SMPT
12.
Yes, so basically, and it seems that we all disagree on the result of what it's supposed to be interpreted. So I put down how I interpret the bits almost line by line and how I get to the results. So everybody can check, and if we disagree, then we need to fix it.
Yeah, it is about the order of the bits, or how we store it. Yeah. And as we are integrating it in FFmpeg, we need to be clear about how to interpret the bits.
Yeah, well, technically, we don't even have to interpret. It's just nice to explain to people, but basically, it's just the format that already exists, and we don't have to explain it. It's just that if we put an example, it has to be correct.
So let me just to clarify: are we talking about Codec 14, or which document are we talking about?
Yes, this one is for Codec 14, so maybe
Okay.
this line should go up.
Yeah.
I can move it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you.
Was it obvious which of these PRs correspond with which document? I am seeing on the GitHub PR page badges that say spec codecs, but there are many of PRs with that. How do I know which of these PRs are for Codec 14?
Well, all of them are for the Codec document, except you see that there's some with the tag Matroska v5. And when it's that means these pull requests are for the Matroska 5 documents, so the ones we are not
And we haven't
publishing
written
yet.
Yeah.
But so that's for another document. They're about Codec, but they're not going to make it into the Codec 14 document or the Codec document.
Because the text that they deal with is already in 9559 or would go into a revision.
Yes, so there might be new codec that are not used yet, so they don't need to be, because right now we're supposed to only mostly specify things that already exist. So if that's
Right.
something new, it goes in the new document.
Right. So yeah.
So if you look on GitHub, if you click on the Matroska v5, there's all kinds of things. It's not just codec. There's about the main document and things like that. All additions to various documents we're doing, which will be in Matroska v5.
So if I look at the PR, that with the filter I just put into the chat, where I just look at any PRs that do not have the Matroska v5 label, all of these
Yes,
PRs,
correct.
then targeting the Codec 14 document.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
So that was for 937. There's already 745, which is a bit trickier. I don't even remember. That was a merge request from Jérôme, but I think you need to rebase it because it's not mergeable as it is.
Will do.
So do we know what we're doing with Codec 14?
Basically, there's these two pull requests, and the last one is 446, which needs to be also rebased because it's for like 4-something years old, and a lot of things have changed, but the ideas still apply.
So let me make sure. Please, you guys, please tell me if I've got this wrong. But I'm about to tell Robert that the Matroska document used to be like one document, but we identified some things that were kind of standalone, like these 4 documents now that did not go in the base Matroska spec. So, but they used to all be in the same place. And oops, did I? No, let's drop it. But so they used to be all in the same document. That's why they're all still in the same GitHub.
Correct. It used to be basically 1 or 2 web pages with all the content, and then we put that in one document, and then we split. Also because, well, for example, you don't need the codec or the text to know how Matroska works. So it would be delaying a much bigger document. And I think like the just RFC 9559, the main one is like 180 pages. So that's even more work. It's better to split them.
Okay, I think key questions. Is there anything we need to talk about? Any of the PRs that we need to talk about on the call?
I don't think so. I tried to merge as much as I could before, and basically these are the 3 remaining things. They are not even big issues, just need some attention.
Okay. What about chapter Codex-5?
There has not been much work. There's still the Matroska JS, so the JavaScript scripting Codec chapter that's been worked on, but not much has happened yet. But again, that one is might as well go in the V5 document because it's completely new and not even finished. So yep. And for the codex chapter codex, I need probably a bit more work to make it clean. The main issue is that there's one that's referring to the DVD spec, and that is not public. So it's a bit tricky to be correct and without having the actual document.
So can you provide a title for the document that we need to figure out how to reference in the notes?
For which one?
You said we have a reference to a specification that is not public.
Yeah, the DVD one. We'll never get it.
Okay.
It'll always be behind a paywall or something, is what you're saying.
It's not just that, it's that if you, well, I've heard about the Blu-ray, but I think the DVD is the same. If you have the spec, you're not allowed to give it to contractors in your company. You cannot,
You have to buy everyone their own copy.
if you sell your company, it probably doesn't include the spec that you bought or things like that. It's not transferable, all kinds of things. So
this will be this when we get to requesting publication. Actually, when we get to working group last call, we're gonna need to have a conversation about how that is described and whether who actually needs access to that specification in order to review the chapter codex document. Robert and Michael, that's my understanding of the criteria, which is there are there documents that someone needs to have access to in order to review the document that's going to be published?
Yeah. So if Steve, if you can tell us the exact title of that document that is necessary, then we could figure out whether there is a liaison that can get it for us. I suspect the answer is no, but
there might be a website like the DVD forum or something. I don't remember. I could look it up.
Yeah, just tell us what it is, because we'll need to basically figure out how we can get reviewers access to it, if assuming that they really need to read it. If the reference is informative, then they might not need to read it. But if someone implementing, yeah, so we can figure that out.
So the thing is that I've never seen that the DVD books. I don't even know if they exist as a digital
okay, so if
version.
you haven't seen them and you wrote the document without seeing them,
okay, so
and you wrote software
that's what I was going to say. Some people reverse engineered it and actually made the documentation public.
Okay, well then let's reference that as a normative reference, and that other one as an informative reference. Okay, then let's leave with that. That's fine. That should be fine.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
But the tricky part is that since it's reverse engineer, you never know if it's correct. Yeah. And if it's complete. Maybe there are other things that are in the document that nobody knows about.
But since this part has been implemented by people without doing it differently, then it actually becomes authoritative, right? Which is which is exactly what the DVD forum would like. But if they make their documents impossible to get, then nobody can read them. So it's not like I'm not really sad for them, but
yeah.
We maybe if we could find somebody who's part of this DVD forum and ask them to review it, given that they already have access to their document, then great. They may get upset, but I don't know. Figure that out. 159 registered members according to the Wikipedia page. Oh, in 2003 is a downward trend, with the membership standing at 80 members. Now it's in reduced activity mode.
Maybe they could release the spec finally.
They were preparing the scheme that enables any licensee to manufacture DVD products without license on and after January 1, 2025. They announced their January this year. They announced their own dissolution on January 31. So end of this week, together with the DVD forum itself and the deposit of the DVD spectrums at the National Diet Library of Japan. Okay, so maybe there's a reference.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, can you post the link where you see that?
Yeah, I'll post a link into the thing here.
And Michael, are you still? Oh yeah, okay. I see you've done that. Excellent. Perfect.
Steve, you said something at the beginning of this conversation that I wanted to ask you to repeat to see if I understood it. I thought I heard you say that the things in chapter codex were new enough that you thought that they might as well be rolled into V5. Did I hear that correctly?
Yes, that's the JavaScript codec. Basically, there are two other codec. There's one called Matroska script. There's only one command, and that command is not even properly specified, but it works. And the other one is the DVD codec, which is supposed to do all the same things a DVD does in a Matroska file. And so these are very, like, they were created 20 years ago, yes. And the Matroska JS was created last year and is only operational in VLC in a branch somewhere that's not merged yet. So it's like a prototype for now.
So we might be waiting for Matroska V5 to do publication requested.
Yes.
Cool. We'll do the right thing, I'm sure.
So the DPD forum, yeah, they've been mothballed, really.
Okay.
They've died grace. They've died with some grace, I would say.
Not everyone does. Good job. Anything else we need to say about chapter codex-5?
No.
Cool. What about control-5?
That one not being worked on. It's something we took out of the main document because it was under specified and nobody uses it, and we'll see if we actually want to finalize the document or just drop it. For now, it's really not the most important thing.
Okay, cool. Is there any other business?
Yes, I would like to speak a bit about FFV1 improvements. For information, we have now FFV1 GPU decoder. Encoder, sorry. So there is an implementation of a decoder, encoder in FFmpeg about FFV1. So the FFV1 implementation with GPU support. So encoder. And there is a work in progress about the GPU decoder. And also there are a lot of proposals for FFV1 v4 improvements. So the one still working in a work in progress. So currently, the discussion is on FFmpeg devel mailing list. And when we agree about the next improvement of FFV1 v4, we will update the specification document. So if you are interested in the discussion about the improvement in FFV1 for the version 4, it is on FFmpeg level. I will write the right name.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no problem.
Yes. Now that I see you've typed it, I knew that. I just it just didn't pop into my mind then.
Doesn't FFmpeg have a new name now?
Still not FFmpeg.
No, I thought I was supposed to rename it, and I'm like, oh, we're still calling it that? Okay.
You have some forks, but FFmpeg stays FFmpeg. Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay. I thought that someone had given it a new name, and I guess I'm seeing forks. All right.
Cool. Cool. And Robert, the FFV1 V4 is. Do I have this correct, guys? That is still kind of focused on. We are still kind of focused on what improvements are needed for the next version.
Yeah, exactly. So FFV1 version 3 is already a RFC, and we are still discussing about what to add in FFV1 version 4.
Cool. So I think I have a couple of action items. I think that we have some work to do on Codec 14, and we may not be very far away from being able to do working group let's call on Codec 14 also, or you said 15. But does that sound right?
Yes.
Cool. So I think that if I'm hearing this right, Michael came out of this meeting with no action items on Michael. Robert came out of this meeting with no action items on Robert, and the working group has work to do, but you all already knew that. Is that about right?
Yes.
Yeah, I've sent some emails about getting Robert added properly to the GitHub organization. I found a spot, a team spot where I can add him, but I'm not sure he's an organizational owner yet. I don't know if Robert knows where to look, or if I think that the Secretariat has a connection to it.
If the Secretariat's an owner, I can go work with them to make the right thing happen.
Yeah, and if they're not, then they should be. They should have been backing it up. But I thought we asked them to do this setup when we started, but I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I'll forward you the ticket, Robert, when I get the ticket reply back.
This was before Spencer, I think, significantly, but most of the work we're doing now is things that came in from outside the IETF in other GitHub repos, but they're now in IETF organization GitHub repos.
Mm-hmm.
So that's basically saying that was set up more than 4 years ago when I showed up. So it's never wrong to look back and see what the current state is.
So if you don't mind, I'd like to walk through again, because I'm still wrapping my head around the current state of play of some of these documents. The draft IETF CELLAR codec is going to be revised and is going to go into working group last call. We expect we'll be pub requesting that very soon. I'm not sure what the answer was with CELLAR tags. Is this a document that we're actively progressing and expect to pub rec?
Well,
Well, that's
Michael,
the opposite.
Michael, if this is your screen, you might scroll up so Robert can see tags 15 discussion. So he doesn't have to.
So the tags one is pretty much ready and should be sent to last call.
Okay, got you. Sorry.
The tags one.
Thank you.
The codec one needs a bit of a few merge requests to be merged, and then we'll generate a new one that will possibly ready for last call.
Yeah,
and the other two, they're still work in progress. And there's the Matroska V5 document that we have not started publishing, but it already exists. You can generate from the GitHub. And
this is all conditional compilation stuff, Robert.
Right.
Yeah.
MMArc, blah blah. Yeah.
Yeah, we write everything in Markdown. We generate some of the Markdown from an XML file, and then we assemble everything and we generate with MMArc and XML to RFC.
XML part because of the many very similar, like, attributes or something like that, right? So
yeah.
So I'm still trying to just wrap my head around the general trajectory of things. So let me ask about as you said, the other documents again. Chapter Codex, we said, is going to progress at roughly the speed of V5, may become part of V5. Is that same true for CELLAR control?
I don't think that's correct, that it's going to become part of V5. I think that there are some things to it that, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think that's quite correct.
Now, that's what I was asking.
Yeah.
That's what I was asking Steve about earlier.
Yeah. So the chapter codec, it defines things that are already existing and used. So we should publish it at some point.
We took it out of Matroska because it was Matroska was getting too fat and too hard to review.
Yeah, basically, so Matroska is modular. So there's the basic things, but you have audio and video codecs, subtitles, etc., which people are familiar with. But we created also what we call chapter codec, which are ways to add features to the codec, to the chapter layer, to do all kinds of things that are not possible otherwise. And they also like add-ons that are optional, just like every audio player in the world doesn't have to support every codec in the world, or video or audio codec. It's the same thing for chapter codecs. So they're completely separate from the main document, but we have to describe somewhere how they work, how to read them, etc. So that's why it's called codec. But for now, the document, we haven't spent much time on that one because we worked on other things. So that's for this one. That will probably, I don't even know if it's more important than Matroska V5. We'll see. That's between these two where the main work will go in the coming months, I think. And then the control track is really something, if we have time, if someone's willing to work on that, but it's not a priority because no one is using it, and I don't know if it makes sense to actually have it or not.
Okay. So
basically, it's if you play a file, and instead of having an audio or video codec with timestamp, you have some commands inside the file that say, oh, at 10 seconds, you have to do this thing in the player. At 20 seconds, you have to do that thing. That kind of thing, it can also be done with chapters. So for now, we never had any actual use for that. I'm not sure it actually exists anywhere else in the world. So
Okay. So the line that was added to the notes that said we may be waiting for Matroska v5 to move forward on chapter codecs is perhaps incorrect.
we can do both in parallel, just like we're doing the tags and codecs in parallel. We can do both Matroska v5 and the chapter codec in parallel.
So I think pulling that line back out of the notes, Spencer, just to avoid confusion.
And I think that one, right?
Yep.
I can delete things.
And the CELLAR FFV4, I'm sorry, FFV1 V4 document, we had under AOB some discussion that there is implementation activity, but the draft is expired. Do you anticipate any new text going into that draft, a new version of it being published anytime soon?
I would like to update the document based on the latest discussion or the future discussion we have on FFmpeg level before sending an update on the IETF tracker, because currently it is the same as the previous one, so I am not sure it is useful to publish it again before we update it.
Well,
Do you prefer that we send a new iteration, but based on the current version, so it is still the same version as the previous one? There is no update for the moment. So I suggest to wait a bit. So we add an update based on the FFmpeg level discussion, and then we publish it.
So is it an accurate description to say that this document is essentially capturing the outcome of conversations taking place somewhere else?
Yes, FFmpeg level is the place we use for debating about the improvement of the encoder and decoder, and then when we agree on that, we prepare the corresponding documentation.
All right.
Because FFmpeg is the reference decoder and encoder.
No, those were the questions I had. Thank you for entertaining them.
Thank you.
The other thing that's maybe useful to say is that the working group was focused on Michael. We published Matroska last year, right?
Yeah.
At the early in the year, and then we published FLAC, and then we've done work on Codec and chapter codecs. So part of this is so part of the reason not much has happened on FFV1 V4 is just people have been working on other stuff, much of which is already finished or is now finished. Some of which is finished, some of which is finishing up like now.
That sounds correct.
Cool. I love it when I get things right. Excellent. Any other business?
Not on my side.
No.
I want to thank everybody for attending, and I want to welcome Robert again. And we're just darn glad to have you on the team. And I know that you will make CELLAR a more welcoming place. That only sounds like an axe murderer, but anyway. Great. So we will see everybody in February.
Thank you.
Yes.
Bye.
And maybe at FOSDEM.
Make good
Yes,
choices.
I will be at FOSDEM. I'm going there on Thursday. It's always
Thursday.
so over.
It's
It's
not
always so
open yet.
overwhelming, eh? Pardon me.
It's Saturday and Sunday.
I know, but there's all the fringe things. I'm actually double booked on Friday for fringe things, and I'm doing something open embedded thing on Monday.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna take a train to the French Alps and ski for 3 days. So there.
Perfect. Life is good.
Yes.
Cool.
Thank you.
Michael, I hope you're
Everyone.
feeling better, and we will make good choices.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.